Hey guys, this is a quick demo of few major problems with FFD deforms in code. Here I prepared a short text memo, but I'm afraid without video it's not making much sense. So here I'll just try to show on video what all of this actually means. I'm gonna try to show you an example of this little model I did many years ago with ZBrush when they just introduced their deformer thing. That's their name for FFD deforms. And before that, I was using FFD deforms in 3ds Max for many years. So in Max and ZBrush, both it works pretty fine. But in code, when I tried to recreate this shape, it's not so smooth. So let's jump in and try to make this shape, for example. So the first and the most important problem here is this first one. Geometry is not following lattice correctly in a smooth linear way, and it generates messy S curves instead of smooth linear C curves, and there is no way to control curves with it. What it means is that when you here I have a simple setup with voxel primitives, so I'm gonna try to deform this one and turn it into this tooth shape. I don't know how it's properly named on the anvil, I just called it tooth. So just jump into pose, select everything. By default it's trying to burn my eyes, so I'm just disabling this display of this red selection. Then enable freeform. By default it's 2x2, but I want 3x3 to have control over curves. And let's try, for example, to first make this cool curve on the top. So I will just go on top, select these and these, and scale it down. At first looks okay, but now, as you can see, as it reaches this point, the lattice points keeps going, but geometry is no longer following. See, it's just stuck. And if I rotate, what the fudge is this? See, even though lattice verts are going very close, but geometry is no longer following. That's what I mean by verts are fighting each other for control over the mesh. My lattice, as you can see, is perfectly flat here, but for some unknown reason, it's adding this messy curve, which I don't want. Here it makes some bump, and it looks like a total mess. So can we do anything about it? Probably not. If you try by one, again, see when it reaches close to this points, getting close to these points, they just stop working. So yeah, it just can't make a proper C curve. And if I try to adjust this to maybe adjust this curve, what on earth is this? Instead of a nice and smooth C curve that 3 points should generate, it's making this wavy, messy S curve thing with another bump here for some reason, even though my lattice is perfectly flat. It's all just in one projection from top. So yeah, it's a total mess. So this is a fail. What else do we have here? Also, we have from side this type of curve, maybe this will work better. If we try on bottom, select these, lift them up. Again, geometry stops following the lattice. The lattice points goes inside of the actual geometry, and it starts making some sort of stupid ass curve instead of nice C curve. Here, if I will try to adjust it, again, it will make some dirty ass curve. This is useless. It's unusable. So yeah, this is very disappointing. If I tried to make maybe from front this roundness part, let's try enabling symmetry. By the way, let's maybe try also covering these other things I wrote here. So the problem with symmetry in pose is, first of all, is that you have no idea which axis is what. Global symmetry can work with FFD, but if you're using global symmetry, FFD will not work correctly on points that are on the symmetry plane. So first, let's try these symmetry options we have in panel. So I have no idea which one. I need these axes. Let's try X. Move up. Oh, I guessed right from the first time, but usually you just need to try each one of them to find which axis responds for what. So in this case, I managed to guess. It can round this. But again, here it starts to add some curve artifacts that I don't need. So it destroys the straight line, even though lattice is absolutely straight. That's a fail too. So I will show you later how it should work on the example of 3ds Max. There it works predictable and nice, but this is not nice at all. If I try to adjust the curvature, yeah, it's making some crazy curves. So no matter what, it's not capable of making nice smooth C curves. This is another problem. This one, rectangle selection of lattice verts is not working with symmetry. If you have symmetry enabled here, and I try to select all three of these verts, it just doesn't work. Look, I have selected all three, but it's working only on middle one. Why? No idea. If I go manually select this and this, nah, not working again. Maybe this. Yeah, this is working. But rectangle selection of lattice, not working. That is annoying. That is this. This FFD is not procedural, and there is no way to apply reset. It means that in 3ds Max and ZBrush, lattice is just a temporary cage that gives you a preview of how it will deform the object when you apply it. But here in code, it's working instantly. So if you made some mess like this, it's not performing it when you hit apply. Instead, each time when you deform any vert, it's stacking it as another deformation on, and it can stack on hundreds of them on top of each other, and when each one of them producing this messy results, it turns into total mess in the end. So that's not nice. I would prefer to have the cage separated from the geometry and to apply all the deformation at once when you hit apply. I will show it in 3ds Max. Why is it superior to this? If you want to undo it, most of the time it works fine, but again, problem is that when each of these deformations are causing trouble, then if you created some troubles with this, and then you start deforming this, it's applying deform over already distorted geometry. So all those deformations are sticking up on top of each other, and it creates more and more problems. See, even though I'm dragging vert here, for some reason, it's affecting over here, while it should be locked in place by these control verts on the lattice. That's what I mean by verts are fighting with each other. That should not happen. I will show it in 3ds Max. If you have a vert right here, it should be locking corresponding area in place. But in code, it's all shaken across all the model. So if I will, for example, select this, with symmetry it will not work, so let's disable symmetry and drag it far away. Yeah, lattice went who knows where, geometry stayed here. It did not drag all across the model like it would with, let me try with 2x2. So undo, undo, undo. If I switch to cube 2x2, that's the problem with orientation. That's number 2, pose tool orientation. It's very annoying. It's not linked to layer deformations you have in transform tool, so even if your object is oriented and the gizmo is properly aligned in transform tool, pose tool will not pick it up. And if your object is rotated and not aligned with world axis, it's very annoying to set up this lattices correctly and align it to your object. Basically, every time when you switch these types, the orientation is getting messed up. In this case, when object is aligned to world, you can just reset axis, fit, and it solves the problem. But if the object were rotated, it's becoming a real pain. So what I wanted to show with 2x2, that if you drag verts like this, see what happens. It's not affecting just this corner. Instead, it drags geometry from across all the model. This is verts fighting with each other. It should never happen with FFDs. In 3ds Max and ZBrush, it's not working this way, and it should not be like this. So what else? Orientation problem. Maybe I can show on another primitive what I mean with orientation problem. If I create another box and it will be not aligned to world, let's create it on new layer, switch to pose, select everything, hide. Now if I will try to freeform this, even though in transform tool my gizmo is stored to main axis, you see that axes are preserved. So it remembers that the object is rotated, but when you go to pose and select it, enable freeform, the gizmo is messed up. and every time you switch, it will be messed up again. Fit doesn't work, reset axis doesn't work, reset position, directional fit, none of this works, so it cannot place it to the object correctly. This is super annoying, so the only thing you can make it work is using this manual transform lattice and trying to fit it manually like this. Then fit. Fit again. Fit again. As you can see, it takes a lot of time to manually align something like this to make it usable. So let's say this is aligned more or less correctly. Now if I will start dragging, yeah, it somewhat works, but if I will switch to another 3x3, guess what? Your lattice is reset to default. So yeah, this is annoying as hell. So this is why it doesn't work in code. It cannot produce any predictable C-curves. This is really frustrating. Let's jump in Max and see how it works there. So here is Max. I'll create just a simple box. Let's make 50, 50, 50. Actually, no, I want it 2 by 1, so let's stretch it to 100 by 50. Yeah, this way it will be more or less squarish. Also, I will apply symmetry. So I will work only on half. This way is symmetrical, and here are FFDs. Let's jump into 3x3, symmetry on top, and let's see how it works here. So first of all, let's try this top projection. So I wanna drag these verts in. And as you can see, geometry is following the lattice much more correctly. See? I can drag it really up close, basically squashing it into a one point, and there's no conflicts between lattice verts. It's super predictable unless you start to make lattice self-intersect like this. Yeah, this will break the mesh. But if it's not intersecting, it's working super nice and predictable. So let's make something like this. And let's apply black material, black wire, and why it works cool, because with 3 points here, I have control over curvature. This way I can change the apex point. And by dragging this in and out, I can just control the curvature I want. So let's say I want something like this and slightly thicker here, like this. Yeah, pretty nice. Nice and simple. That's one projection. That code failed. Then what's the other? This side projection. Like this. Basically same thing, just squashing this from the front up, this up as well, and I wanna make this nose kind of squarish, like this. Something like this. And I'm getting nice C-curve here. And again, if I want to adjust this curve, I can use these points and adjust it as I like. No artifacts, no stupid S-curves, no fall-off conflicts. Just nice, simple C-curves, controlled by just 3 points. What else? What else? The front one. Yeah, the front one is interesting because this is what can't be done with cutoff. Let's try and grab all of these and add this roundness on the bottom. So I want to make it look round, half spherical on the bottom, like this. Yeah, it's nice. So it's round in here and there. As for this sharp corner, I will probably leave it. These points doesn't matter. So yeah, here it is. Just a few minutes and pretty complex object is done. With perfect topology, well-controlled curves, everything nice and smooth. That's how it should work. But for some reason in code it's not working like this. So what's the most annoying part in this lattice not affecting correctly? In Max, when you are affecting FFD control points, they are perfectly smooth and linear because if you have 3 points, like which curve can we test? Like 3 points here. As you can see, this is locking this part of geometry in place. So if I will be dragging this vert, it will be affecting curve between these 2 points, but here on the ends, it's locked in. So if you have lattice set correctly, the outer points will be perfectly locked in place without any deformations or artifacts. So that's annoying how it happens in code, and there's no way to fight it. If I wanted to add roundness to top, I can just drag it like this. The ends will be perfectly in place, and the mid will be blended between these two. So I hope this makes some sense. I covered this, pose tool orientation, symmetry, yeah. I didn't show global symmetry in code, but it actually works. So if you select everything, reset axis, fit, if you have symmetry enabled, and wait a second, let's kill the selection. Yeah, if I enable symmetry, this global symmetry X, it will work with the pose, but in a little bit weird way. So if I have 3 by 3 fit, it will fit it to half object to the symmetry plane. And it could be good if not one little bug. If you try to affect verts that touches symmetry, there will be no proper smoothing. So if I try to make a nice smooth C-curve here, you see what happens? It just makes a bunch of artifacts. That's not correct at all. If I try to pick this too, well, it's a little bit better, but still, when I will touch the midpoints, there is no smoothing going on. So it's not making it's not blending two halves together. See, instead of smooth curves, it makes this mess totally unusable. So yeah, symmetry is not great here. That's basically it. If you want to check how it works in ZBrush, I will not waste half an hour on that video. I will just post a link here so you can check on yourself how deformers work in ZBrush. Here I showed you 3ds Max and code problems, and hope you will find a way to fix it somehow.